According to a survey commissioned by Stuff called Now Next, 27% of respondents indicated they wanted to embark on renovations in the coming 12 months. In comparison, only 17% of respondents said they were thinking of moving home. So, not quite double the amount of Kiwis, but close to it, are trying to make their current home more livable in some way, rather than buying and selling something that's already fit for purpose. So today I'm going to highlight some of the common mistakes people make when deciding whether or not to renovate. Then I'll offer some practical ways that I think you can improve the quality of life in a home in a cost-effective way. Now, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I cover all the topics that everyday Kiwis think about when it comes to investing and owning property, investing in managed funds, crypto, and KiwiSaver, you name it. Now, I'm keen to help more people learn about more ways to build new wealth in the new world that we're heading into. So be sure to give this video a like if you got something out of it. Righto, so there are many reasons why you would consider renovations. Perhaps you like rolling up your sleeves and having a go at it. Perhaps you feel in love with the area that you're already in, but you couldn't purchase a home initially that had all the right ingredients. Or perhaps you feel you can add value in some way. Far and away, the most frustrating thing to observe, though, are those who are contemplating renovations because they didn't buy a home that was fit for purpose in the first place. A lot of the reasons why this happens, I think, is due to information asymmetry. Here's what I mean by that. The true value of your home is hard to actually ascertain unless you actually sell it. Or often, the true value of the home you would rather be in is also hard to ascertain, especially if it's being sold in an auction or you're in a rising market. Finally, the true costs of renovations aren't fully known until you start. Put bluntly, it often costs twice as much as you're prepared to pay, takes 3 times as long to complete, and it only ever ends up being about 80% of what you really wanted in the first place. So what about some common mistakes people make when renovating? Well, not valuing your current home accurately. If you estimate the value of your home at less than what it really is, you can never really know how much you could have spent on a new home that's already perfect. If you estimate a value that's too high, alternatively, you could make the mistake in thinking that renovations are the more affordable option. Another mistake is not estimating the true costs of renovations accurately. Let's be honest, your 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home was never actually meant to be a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, and it will probably fight you every step of the way. There are costs with councils, specialist reports, building materials that rise, labor costs that rise, all things that can change even after you've commenced the project. Lastly, another mistake potential renovators make is assuming the bank lending criteria is the same when you're renovating. It's not. Although you may be approved to borrow the money, the banks will still need to approve the purpose of the money. The advance of funds will be contingent on the progress, and ultimately, they want to ensure that you can make it to the finish line. After all, it's their money on the line here. But sometimes it's just not feasible to change areas, and you're not convinced there are any other properties in your area at your price range that are suitable. The kids go to school in the area, all their friends live close by, and it feels too expensive to be able to afford anything larger. Sometimes, though, there's also a possibility that renovators are just people who are plain bored. Or they're looking for a project, or more concerning, there's a belief that they can add value in some way. So let's talk about that. Is it really possible to add value to your home? Well, I think in some cases, yeah, for sure. If there are some obvious bits of low-hanging fruit, like the bathroom straight out of the 90s, complete with a peach-colored sink and there's carpet all over the floor, or maybe the internal paint is way out of date, or even maybe there's no off-street parking. But there is a limit, right? As soon as you're thinking of a pool installation, expanding the footprint of your home, or going up another level, you may quickly discover that for each dollar that you spend, you get less than $1 of extra value being created in the process. In the long term, whatever exists on top of the land is going to decline in value relative to the appreciation of the land underneath. Now, I know this is a bit controversial though. What about all the home improvement shows? What about all your friends who boast about how well they did out of their last project? This isn't a blanket rule, but for most of us, renovations do nothing but distract us from the day job, cause conflict at home, and increase debt on a home you still don't like in the future. Still keen to renovate? Well, here's some practical things to consider before making a start. Number one, get a registered valuation report on your home. If you knew with more certainty what your home is worth in the current market, you could make an informed decision around whether or not to sell it. Don't rely on council valuations, the bank's valuation, or even a real estate appraisal here. Spend the money and get an independent valuation report. Number two, if you're still keen to proceed with renovations, instead of giving your builder a budget of what to stick within, get some draft plans drawn up, then obtain a quantity surveyor's report. This breaks down the actual cost independently before you obtain quotes from builders. Number three, have a buffer before you start and get some backup plans ready. The banks will want you to use up all your money first before advancing any of their funds. This way, you're more likely to stick to the plan, which is one of their greatest concerns. Do you have family that could assist you? Or do you have other investments that you could liquidate in case of cost overruns? Like anything, when you're chasing a good return, there's some risks involved, and you can reduce the risks, you can offload the risks, or you could just avoid the risks altogether. Now, in an ideal world, here's what I would ultimately suggest. Enjoy your property for what it was designed to be, not what you want it to be. Repair, maintain, perhaps update a little bit, but try not to go much further than that. If you feel you need to, though, consider selling if you can. As a general rule, remember this: done-ups sell at a discount, and do-ups sell at a premium. Take advantage of this. You may be able to purchase a home that someone else has already done the hard work on, and there may be someone out there looking for that do-up project like yours. Depending on the environment, you may find it's more efficient from a cost point of view, and certainly from a risk point of view, to sell and buy rather than renovate. Now, if the property market continues to rise over the long term, the faster you can buy the most expensive home you can ever imagine owning, the better off you'll be. If you're looking to get into the property market for the first time, this is so important. As long as you can afford the size of the mortgage, really important, make sure that your first move is the best move that you make. Always buy tomorrow's property at today's price, because it ensures you won't have to spend a fortune and take on huge risks and try to climb up the mythical renovator's value-adding property ladder. In my opinion, after watching hundreds of couples go through this over almost 20 years, a passive property holding strategy wins over an active renovator strategy every day. Alright, well that's all I have time for in this short video, but if you want to hear more, please leave a comment, give this one a like, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.